Welcome to Melodia, a realm where music is the ultimate source of power and life itself, vibrating through every stone and every soul in the kingdom. Legend speaks of an invisible temple hidden in plain sight, waiting for the one true heir who can discover the legendary perfect note to unlock its doors. For centuries, the most talented masters have sought this power, believing that technical perfection and complexity were the keys to claiming the ultimate throne of music. But the temple remained silent, its gates sealed by a mystery that no symphony or concerto could solve, standing as a silent challenge to all who dared. Many arrived with instruments made of gold and silver, certain that their wealth and status would grant them entry into the heart of the ancient sanctuary. They practiced until their fingers bled, composing grand pieces that shook the ground. Yet the temple doors never showed even the slightest sign of opening for them. The air was thick with the sounds of competition, as every artist tried to outshine the others with faster rhythms and more complicated arrangements of sound. Despite the grandeur and the skill displayed, the true essence of music seemed lost in the noise of their overwhelming pride and desperate search for glory. The day of the great gathering arrived, a time when the finest geniuses from every corner of the world met to test their luck against the gate. Fingers danced like lightning, striking chords that echoed through the valley, each musician trying to prove they were the most technically gifted player in history. They used music as a weapon to conquer, a tool to display their ego, forgetting that harmony is born from the heart rather than just the mind. Explosions of light and color filled the sky as their melodies crashed against the temple, yet the ancient stones remained as cold and unmoved as before. The harder they played, the more the temple seemed to withdraw, rejecting the vanity that fueled their every note and the selfishness behind their every breath. One by one, the masters fell back in fatigue, their spirits broken by the silence of the temple that refused to acknowledge their supposed greatness and fame. A wave of frustration washed over the spectators as they realized that even the most legendary performers had failed to produce the elusive perfect note required. They had mastered the physics of sound, but lacked the spirit of music, chasing after a throne while losing the very soul of their artistic craft. The gates were not guarded by locks or spells, but by a simple truth that none of these masters could see through their veil of ambition. Away from the dazzling lights and the roar of the crowd, in a forgotten corner of the city, a different kind of story was beginning to unfold. Kael, an unknown musician with nothing to his name but an old wooden guitar, was making his way toward the temple when something stopped him cold. There, huddled in the shadows, was an old man, his body trembling from the cold and his eyes reflecting a lifetime of loneliness and deep sorrow. The beggar had been ignored by thousands who passed by, his silent plea for help drowned out by the loud music of those seeking the temple's power. They saw him as a distraction, a blemish on their perfect day, hurried by with their heads held high, chasing the dream of becoming the next king. To them, music was for the stage and the palace, not for the dirty streets or the broken people who lived in the shadows of their greatness. But Kael did not see a nuisance. He saw a human heart in need of comfort, and he realized that his music had a higher purpose today. He didn't have gold to give, and he didn't have medicine to heal the body, but he had a melody that could speak to the soul's pain. He began to play a soft, humble tune, a lullaby of compassion that floated through the narrow alley like a warm breeze on a winter night. There was no audience, no applause, and no judges, only a young man playing for a stranger who had been forgotten by the rest of the world. As the melody flowed, it wasn't the complexity of the notes that mattered, but the weight of the sincerity Kael poured into every single vibration. Suddenly, the air began to shimmer with a golden light, a celestial energy born from a pure act of selflessness and the magic of true empathy. The music began to heal, mending the cracks in the old man's spirit and warming his cold bones with the fire of a stranger's unexpected kindness. For the first time in years, The beggar felt seen and heard, his heart dancing to the rhythm of a song played just for his weary soul. This simple melody carried more power than all the grand symphonies combined, traveling through the city streets directly toward the heart of the invisible temple. The perfect note had finally been struck, not through technical mastery, but through the profound resonance of a heart that cared for another living being. At the plaza, the temple gates began to hum with a frequency never heard before, a sound of such purity that it brought tears to everyone's eyes. The ancient stone yielded to the softest melody, proving that the most powerful force in the universe is not strength or skill, but genuine love. They watched in stunned silence as the light from the humble alleyway merged with the temple's aura, creating a bridge between the street and the sanctuary. The mystery was solved. The temple was a mirror, and it only opened when it saw the reflection of a truly beautiful and selfless human spirit. The old man Kael had helped was no ordinary beggar, but the guardian of the temple himself, testing the hearts of those who sought its secrets. He stood tall and magnificent, his voice like 1,000 harps as he gestured for the young musician to step forward and claim his rightful destiny. Kael walked with humility, not as a conqueror, but as a servant of music, still holding the same wooden guitar that had touched a broken heart. He entered a world of wonders where every sound was a blessing and every silence was a prayer, welcomed by the ancient spirits of Melodia's past. The hall resonated with a symphony of joy, instruments of light, playing a melody that celebrated the return of the true king, the king of kindness. The masters who had mocked the poor and the weak now realized their folly, understanding that their technical brilliance was hollow without a compassionate soul. He had become the heir, not because he was the fastest or the loudest, but because he was the only one who stopped to listen. The power of the temple was now his, a power to be used for the healing of the world and the unity of all living things through song. Kael chose not to stay in the high palace, but returned to the streets, using his gift to bring light and hope to those who needed it most. He taught the kingdom that success is not about standing above others, but about reaching down to lift up those who are struggling in the dark. Every note he played was a seed of kindness, growing into a forest of peace that sheltered everyone, regardless of their status or their wealth. Let your life be a beautiful symphony of kindness, for it is the only melody that can truly open the doors to greatness and eternal legacy.